Good morning and welcome to Transwest Truck Trailer RV of Frederick. My name is Callie Say and I'm here at Transwest and Horse Trailer Sales. So for those of you that aren't familiar with us, we are Cimarron and Logan dealers, as well as we have a wide variety of used trailers that we take in on trade or buy outright. So what I've got behind me is actually a sold unit, but we almost never get this style trailer here sitting on our lot. A lot of them are sold before they are finished in production and they get shipped out to their new owners right away. So this is kind of a rare chance for us to show a sold unit, but one that's here that we can film, because there's a lot of cool things on this 2+1 that are a little bit different than you've seen on our 2+1s in the past. So let's go take a tour. All right, so to start off with, this is a 2022 Cimarron Northstar 2+1. A 2+1 is a super convertible trailer. You have the option to do 2 horses facing forward with a box stall up front. You have the option to do 2 box stalls, or if you want to get really crazy, you can take everything out of the actual stall area and you can have something similar to an open stock trailer. So this is very easy to manipulate to make it exactly how you want, which is why these trailers are so dang popular. These 2+1s, they're a pretty small footprint, so it's 24 feet 6 inches on the floor. This one is actually extra tall. So for a long time, our 2+1s, we've been doing them standard 7'7" tall. It's a pretty typical Warmblood height trailer, but we actually have a manager who has a horse who had to duck a little to get into one of his demo trailers, which was only 7'7" tall. So we figured, let's not have that happen to one of our customers. So we've started making an option of doing one 7'10" tall, just like our 6-horse head-to-heads. So that's what you're gonna see here, is a lot of extra height. One of the things we did to offset that extra height and drag is we've actually put a V-nose on this. For those of you that aren't familiar with the V-nose, it is amazing to pull a V-nose trailer. I will pull a V-nose air ride any day of the week. They really help cut through a lot of the wind. And we've actually done a couple studies where you get about 2.5 to 3 miles per gallon more as you're pulling a V-nose trailer versus a standard tapered nose or a square nose. So it's really nice to have this. It's just a lot more aerodynamic. On these bigger trailers, you don't lose a ton of space on them, but I love a V-nose trailer. It is a little bit more to do a V-nose, but it's something that we want to do, especially on these taller trailers, because it's just going to help them pull so nicely down the road. Up here, every Cimarron comes standard with one of these B&W couplers. So these B&W couplers are actually something that Cimarron and B&W collaborated on to make a really high quality coupler that's made in the USA. You've got 2 set screws here as well as a pin. So it's a very secure setup. It's really easy for you to adjust it to the height of your vehicle. So maybe you're pulling an older truck and this nice new trailer, and those older trucks, they sit a little lower to the ground. So we still have the ability to hook one of these newer trailers up to those older vehicles by extending this gooseneck coupler. The cool thing about what we do here at Cimarron is we actually, on all our inventory units, we go in standard at 53-inch gooseneck drop wall. So from here to here, you've got an extra 3 inches of clearance, which allows us to hook up to those taller pickups. What we really want to avoid is having too little space between the truck bed rail and the actual frame of our trailer, because that's when you get into tight predicaments. It's when you start ruining your bed rails, you ruin your trailer. So we want at least 6 to 8 inches of clearance on those trucks in order for us to ride nice and safe on these trailers. We also want the trailers to be nice and level. So by giving ourselves just a little more room in that gooseneck drop wall, we're allowing ourselves to have a little bit more room for forgiveness on those newer trucks. Another thing this trailer is equipped with to help with the ride height is actually air ride suspension. So air ride does a whole bunch of other stuff, but one of the cool things is it actually picks up the box about 2 to 3 inches. So it gives you a little more clearance on those newer trucks, so you're not going to have those issues of getting into your truck. These V-noses on these trailers also give you a lot more room for forgiveness when you turn, because you don't have quite as much nose sticking out here to run into the back of your window. So you can crank these V-nose trailers around pretty tightly, which is pretty cool if you're in a tight show area, or maybe you're trying to get in and out of a tight gas station. It just really gives you a lot of room for error, which is really cool. Underneath this trailer, this is a really nice trailer. We weren't going to put a hand crank jack on it. We want people to be able to hook up nice and easy. At the touch of a button, it'll go up and down. That's really, really nice if maybe you're wrestling horses to get in and out, or you've had a long day and you just don't feel like cranking. This electric over hydraulic jack, especially in the heat, is really, really nice little luxury to have. The cool thing about these are there is a manual override. So if you ever accidentally run your battery all the way to the ground, you don't have any power, you don't really want to wait for it to get enough juice from your truck, you can actually manually pump this trailer up and down. There's a little valve here on the side, and if you pull it out and turn it a quarter of a turn, that will allow it to go down. The big thing that you want to make sure is you want to make sure you always put it back in its regular position, because otherwise as you come out here the next morning, that trailer will slowly sink to the ground if you leave this open. If it's closed like this, it'll pump the trailer up, so it's really easy to operate. Of course, the simplest thing is just to make sure your batteries are always charged and that you don't ever run it all the way down. Important to have a charge wire, a hot wire from your truck, so that you're getting that supply to your battery to charge it as you drive. And also it's important that when you're not using your trailer, we have this little battery disconnect in here, and that battery disconnect will allow us, if we turn it to the red, it'll allow us to cut all power to the trailer so that it's not getting any draw from any lights, from your air ride, anything like that, so that you don't have to walk up to this trailer and have a dead battery. Right in here, this is another cool thing that we did on this trailer. We started asking them to put the air ride suspension boxes, or the boxes for the air system, in the actual battery box. And what that does is it helps prevent a lot of rock trips and weather from affecting this. So it also makes it really easy to see. For those of you that have had other air ride trailers where it's mounted on the side here, it can get a little hard to read all the dials and make sure that you're in the upper or the lower position, the raise or the lower position. So by having it here right in front of you, it's nice and protected from any road blast, from the weather, and it's really easy to read. These air ride systems are incredibly simple to use. It's just as simple as 2 different buttons you have to turn. So first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your power is on. So that little battery disconnect is going to be green. And then what I like to do is before I load horses, I want to turn this on, but I want to keep it in the lower position. The reason I want to keep it in the lower position is it'll turn this on, it'll fill the compressor, but it won't put that air into the bags yet. And what that does is that makes it a lot easier for your horses to get in and out of your trailer, because they're not having to go up quite as steep of a ramp. Now granted, this trailer does have ramps, so it is a lot easier than a step up for them to get in and out of, but we want to make it as comfortable and easy and safe for them to get in and out. So it's just easier to keep it in the lower position. When you're ready to leave, the last thing you want to do before you hit the road is you want to turn it to this raised position. And what that will do is it'll dump that air from that tank into your airbags. This will kick on again because it's got to refill the compressor. It's probably got to make a little more air to put in those bags, and then it'll get up to about 140 psi, and that's your ride height. So the nice thing about these systems are they're pretty easy to just kind of set it and forget it. This will automatically adjust, so if you load another horse on there, it'll add more air to compensate for that additional weight. If you come up to a hard stop, maybe you're going up and over a mountain pass, anything that's going to need to redistribute a lot of weight, this compressor will kick on. There's also a little bit of bleed off that you get on these systems, so periodically it will kick on and off. If you ever have it where the compressor is just completely kicked on and it's not really wanting to turn off, or it's kicking on quite frequently, that's a good indication that there might be a leak somewhere in your lines. A lot of times it's just a fitting or a valve that maybe needs replaced, so it's pretty simple to pinpoint with some soapy water. But it's just a really good thing to always kind of keep an eye on if you hear that kicking on a lot, or if you hear any hissing. is a lockable box, so if you need to, you can keep this nice and safe and secure. Right under here is a little pull string here, and this is really important for kind of the overall health of your air ride system, to maintain it and keep it really good for a long time to come. When that air condenses in your trailer or in the air system, it creates a lot of moisture, and especially in a pretty humid area, it's going to create quite a bit of moisture. So in places like Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, like anywhere that it's going to get below freezing, we want to make sure that every time we're using this, when we go to store it, we turn it off, we switch it to the lower position, and then we'll pull this little string here towards us. And what that does is you'll hear some hissing, you might have some moisture spit out onto your hand, but it clears the lines so that you don't have to worry about that buildup of condensation in those lines turning into ice and cracking your lines. So it's really simple to use, just a couple buttons and blow it out at the end of the ride. So if you stop for lunch or something, you don't necessarily have to turn this off, but at the end of the day, we want it lowered and we want this pulled. Another thing people ask me is, well, do I have to use my air ride? I mean, this trailer is sitting on 7K rubber torsion axles, the airbags are on top of it. And what we tell people is, you've got air ride, you're gonna wanna use it. It is so much better for the health of your horses, for the longevity of your trailer and your truck. If you've ever pulled an air ride trailer, there's a good chance you're never gonna wanna pull a rubber torsion again. Your horses are a huge investment. That a lot of them are family members, a lot of them are part of your business, so why not give them the most comfortable ride possible? Our manager actually can go a day later to shows because his horses don't have to rest and recuperate after a really long drive. They're riding on air suspension, on airbags, so they're not getting a lot of those hard hits and vibration and just earthquake-like conditions that a lot of horses that are experiencing that rubber torsion axle going to a show are. So if you show cattle, horses, any livestock, this air ride system is going to be a really great investment in them. It's less chiropractor treatments, it's less wear and tear on your vehicle. It's an expensive add-on, but in the long run, it usually saves you quite a bit of money. All right, so let's get back to the actual kind of construction of this trailer here. So this trailer, we've got 2 straight load stalls and a box stall in front. No wheel wells on the inside of this trailer, which means it's 6'10" wide. In this front tack here, we have a 5-foot front tack. Standard on one of these 2+1s is a 4-foot front tack, but we've found that people really like having this 1-foot boot box kind of at the front of this here. And by adding that boot box, we add just a little bit of length. And we've found that people are very happy to pull a 1-foot longer trailer if they can have all of this additional storage. It just makes it so much less cramped in here having a 5-foot front tack versus a 4-foot. You can really feel the difference. On this wall here, you do have a recessed post for your saddles. 3-horse trailer, so you've got 3-tier saddles. Cool thing about this is this trailer is 7'10" tall. It's very easy for you to go in and add additional tiers if you've got more saddles, or if maybe you don't need quite as many blanket bars, go ahead and fill this whole thing up with saddle tiers if you want. Maybe you've got more blankets, you can add more of these as well. So these Cimarron saddle tiers are really adjustable. It's just as simple as loosening one of these bolts here, and you can slide these up and down. So if you wanted to go blanket bar, saddle tier, blanket bar, saddle tier, blanket bar, saddle tier, it's just as simple as taking a little bit of time and switching that setup around. So very easy to use there. On this wall here, we do have 6 bridle hooks on either side of this, and behind it we do have carpeting. Your horses are on the other side of this wall. One of Cimarron's main goals is to make this trailer as comfortable for your horses as possible. By doing that, we want to minimize a lot of noise and kind of unwanted sounds for your horses. So by carpeting behind, number 1, you keep the aluminum nice and pretty. You don't have to see unsightly scratch marks or anything like that. But number 2, it keeps it a lot quieter. Your horses are right on the other side of this wall. We want to be mindful of that. We've got a nice little pass-through door. So if you want to kind of use this first stall as a mid-tack, I know a lot of people, they're just traveling with 2 horses, and maybe they want to use this first stall for a lot of additional storage, tack trunks, hay bales, coolers, anything like that. We just make it really easy that you can just have this go open and go through without having to put a side ramp down or maybe open one of these. So it's nice to just have kind of that option. In the nose here, we do have a clothes rod. I know most people that are going to shows, they are going to have a change of clothes that they're going to need to, jackets and polos and all that. So by having a nice little place to hang them up, keeps them off the floor, keeps them nice and clean so that your trainers don't yell at you. And then right up above, you will see that you've got this LED light over here. So standard on these Cimarrons is they do all LED lights. This is their OptiBrite light. It is now standard on every unit. It used to be an upgrade, but what these OptiBrite lights do is they use a lot less energy and power. They put out a lot more light and they last a lot longer. So it was kind of a no-brainer decision to just go all across the board on these OptiBrites here. Their old LED style didn't put out quite as much light, so they really like having kind of a lot brighter trailer. As you'll notice, I just got in and out really easy. There is a nice little fold down step on this. This is another upgrade we did over some of our past 2+1 air rides. It just makes it so much easier than running board. I know that if you're trying to rush in and out of these trailers, sometimes that running board just doesn't feel quite big enough, and it's a little higher up. So it's nice to be able to have kind of this halfway step, folds nicely against the side of your trailer. It's on a little gas shock, so you don't have to worry about it bouncing up and down out of the pop socket, and it's just so much easier to get in and out. So I'm a big fan of these fold down steps. Right here, this is one of the beauties of a 2+1, is you get this cool side ramp. So you have a rear ramp and a side ramp. What that allows you to do is if you have a horse that doesn't want to back out of a trailer, you can literally walk them in and walk them out on a ramp. You never have to have them back out. If you want to unload a horse without having to unload 2 of the others, you can throw one in the box stall. He can go on and off without anybody having to know the difference. And you don't have to worry about upsetting these other horses by opening ramps, reshuffling. It just makes it super, super usable. I know a lot of horse transporters really like this setup because they can change horses around without having to unload and reload horses, which is, depending on where you are, it might be a little bit dangerous. So it's really, really great kind of setup to have. This is a nice wide ramp, and it's got a nice rubberized texture. This ramp it gives you some grip on it so that horses, as they're walking down it, it's not just a slick surface for them to have to get on and off of. Above, you do have a nice big 16-inch LED awning light. What that allows you to do is if you're loading at night, it's going to light this thing up really bright so that your horses can see where they're putting their feet and that they don't feel like they're just stepping kind of into oblivion. Right over here, we do have a wraparound Dutch door. This is a big Dutch door. They don't really want you to leave this open as you're driving because it's just there's no safety bars or anything like that on it. You've got a nice big window. You can get a lot of airflow going through. But one of the things that I like that they upgraded on it is they put a latch here, a cam latch, so that you can lock this back and you don't have to worry about this giant window smacking you in the head as you're trying to load and unload horses. They used to just have a pop little socket there so that it would stay in place, but in Wyoming, if you've ever tried to load horses in Wyoming, that wind is not very forgiving. So by having a nice secure butterfly latch here, it's just a nice added safety feature. I'm really glad that they put one of these on there. Right behind it, you do have a drop down window. On the other side, I will show you guys kind of how that operates. These drop downs, they have safety bars. They're nice and secure. You can run with them down if you want. These Cimarron trailers, you're never going to have a shortage of airflow on them. You can manipulate these really however you want in order to get a lot of airflow moving through. Down below here for your running gear, as I mentioned before, We do have airbags on this trailer sitting on top of rubber torsion 7K axles. So you've got 16-inch tires on here. Every Cimarron comes standard with an aluminum wheel. So you can kind of pick from two different types. If you want to upgrade, you can always upgrade to like an Alcoa style, which is really quite cool, but you do add a little bit of cost there. These tires are actually covered under their own warranty. So Lion's Head offers a 1-year no questions asked policy. So if you have a roadside hazard, if there's a manufacturer defect, anything like that, they're going to cover it, no questions asked, for 1 year. And Beth, the lady at Lion's Head, she does an amazing job of getting back to us right away. Anytime we've had issues, she takes care of it. She gets it sent out to the customer, and they'll even reimburse you to have a new one put on. It also comes with 2-year roadside assistance and a 5-year warranty against any manufacturer defects. So even your tires are really well covered on these trailers. Transwest ourselves, we also have a tire warranty program. It's a little longer that protects the tow vehicle and your trailer. So if you want a little more information on that, our finance gals can absolutely answer any questions you have there. These tires are nitrogen filled, so it's not so much of a big deal as today when it's hot all the time, but when it starts out really cold in the morning and it progressively gets hotter, nitrogen filled, they expand and contract a lot less than regular air. So you're going to keep a lot more stable PSI as you're going down the road. What that helps you do is it helps you prevent blowout. So having nitrogen is a really nice little feature. If you get in a bind and you have a low tire and you need to throw some regular oxygen or air in there, you can. You're just not going to get the benefits of the nitrogen filled anymore. Right here, you'll notice that these Cimarrons are really good looking trailers. We've got extruded aluminum sides going pretty high up on this trailer, and what these are is they're actually triple hollow slats. So not only do they kind of give it a nice clean appearance, but they've also got a lot more resistance to any scratching or anything like that. If a horse puts their teeth on it or their lead rope on there, it's going to scratch a little bit, but you're not going to be as apparent as if you scratch this 050 aluminum right up above. But what happens when you do these triple hollow slats, see they're all kind of tongue and grooving into each other, you actually give your trailer more structural strength on their sidewalls. So these are not only just for looks, but they also add a lot of structural benefits. Every trailer, as you go down the road, they're going to want to flex outward, and by having a stronger exterior on these kind of helps prevent some of that flexing. So let's go take a tour inside. Got a nice little strap that goes all the way across this side ramp here. That's so that if you've got a horse loose here in this box stall, you're not going to have to worry about them running out on top of you when you put that down. You've got 2 roof vents right up above for this stall, and then 2 roof vents over each stall in the back. If you're tall, I'm sure you could reach those, but I might recommend either having a horse that doesn't mind letting you jump on their back, or get yourself a step stool to open or close those. I'd probably say step stool is safer. We did add a tie ring here so that if you do want to tie a horse in this box stall, you don't want them running loose, you do have that option. Got an escape door on this side with a nice heavy duty chest bar. It's really easy to take in and out, but horses without thumbs, they probably can't figure out how to get it unlocked. But it sits nice and secure in there. Nice thing about this escape door here is that if you want to come in and feed and water your horses, you don't have to put down the side ramp, you don't have to go through the dressing room. This escape door is here for your safety, but as well as just being a really nice little convenience factor. So this box stall here, the really nice thing is we've got stud gates on either side. So if you've got a mouthy little gelding that you've got loose in here that just wants to cause trouble with the horses on the other side, he's not going to be able to reach them. So it's really nice that you've got a little bit of separation. As I mentioned earlier, if you're just hauling 2 and you want to use this for all of your extra stuff that you're going to bring to a show, your hay bales, your coolers, your tack trunks, this is a really great little space. You've got 8'8" this way, so that you've got lots of room to load this area up with either horses or a bunch of stuff. So you can see the pass-through door on the other side. These clip back nice and easy, and you'll notice you don't hear a lot of clinging and clanging when I'm opening and closing these, and that's because anywhere Cimarron has metal-to-metal contact, they're going to use this high-grade plastic, and what that allows is, number one, metal on metal wears really fast, so we want to avoid anywhere with metal on metal contact because eventually it's going to eat itself away. High-grade plastic is also a lot quieter when it's next to metal, so you're going to see a buffer of plastic anywhere that you've got the ability to make a lot of noise. Once again, our goal at Cimarron and Transwest is to make these really comfortable, quiet, safe trailers for horses, so eliminating noise is a big part of that. All right, so as we work our way back here, this is the coolest part of the trailer, and it's one of my favorite reasons for these 2+1s with the traveling gate. Yes, this gate moves all the way over so that this divider, if you want to make this a box stall, number one, you don't have to ask for help. Number two, you don't have to be strong. And number three, you don't have to find somewhere to store a divider if you end up coming back with just 2 horses. So these big feed bags we've been including on a lot of these 2+1s, and that's just because they're super convenient. If you don't want to deal with hay bags, you don't have to. If you're a big fan of hay bags, you can still hang one. There's still a place for you to put those if you need to. So I'm just going to kind of break these down a little bit. Once again, no metal on metal, keeping it nice and quiet for these horses. You can completely take these out if you want, but I'm just going to kind of push them over. So on these front stalls, what you'll notice is that you've got a, once again, we'll just use geldings because I know I've got a really mouthy gelding at home that's always wanting to get into things. But I'm sure mares can cause a lot of issues too. If a horse is here messing with this chest bar, they're not going to be able to pop this open and smoosh themselves against that stud divider there. You've got to have thumbs or an easy way to operate this in order to unlock it. And see how it just kind of pops up there when I do that? That keeps your horses nice and safe and secure, but it's also really easy to operate if you are a human. On these back ones, we don't need the child safety locks because horses aren't going to be able to get these ones undone. If you want to pull this all the way over, it's as easy as taking these out. You just have these little pins that are set in here, and you just literally pull them straight up, and they just come right out. See those plastic buffers on there? We're not messing around at Cimarron, keeping these trailers nice and quiet. These can store nice and easy up front. Just don't make sure you don't leave them at home if you plan on bringing more horses back with you. So one of the upgrades that we did on this trailer that I'm really excited about is we used to wrestle with this head guard here, and so my manager had the great idea of please create something that'll keep it secure as you move this to the side so that we don't have to worry about this trying to walk away from us. And they did it. They've got a nice little piece here that just kind of sits nice and out of the way. This is how you can travel with it if you want to be able to move it back and forth. But if you're not going to be moving it, it can rest right here, and then as you walk this towards the side, this isn't going to try and hinder your progress. So for those of you that want to make it a box stall, we used to have to wait to do the head grill, but we can do that first if we want now. And what I do is I go through, and there's kind of 5 points of connection that you're going to want to break loose on these trailers. They kind of all sit in their own little things here. Once again, I don't have to worry about this head guard anymore, and I just walk it to the side. The biggest thing is you want to make sure that you don't let one side get really out of whack with the other side, but see how easily it moved over? And I've got gravity working with me now. If I was facing it the other way, I might have to push it a little, but then you just go through and you do exactly what you did in reverse, in order to get it kind of set aside. So they all kind of pop into place here, which is awesome. Nice and secure. You don't have to worry about them going out anywhere during travel. The last one is this little head guard here, and that is it. You have made a box stall. I guess you need to probably close these, but it's as simple as that. If you need to bring a golf cart into your first stall, you can always take this piece out. It's pretty easy to maneuver as well. It just kind of pops out there. Oops. Of course, now there we go. Let's set this over here. So you have this clear runway. This needs, if you're in an emergency situation and you need to load a bunch of horses up and kind of sardine them in here, you've got a giant open stock trailer now that you can use to get those horses in and out. So those of you that have significant others that don't really do the horse thing, but maybe they've got side-by-sides or quads or something like that, they want to use this on the weekends that you're not showing. If you're really nice, you can lend them your really, really nice Air Ride 2+1. So on the rear here, we do have a big ramp. Once again, it is also covered in that nice rubberized grippy material, so you don't have to worry about your horses slipping going down this. We've got big Dutch doors that kind of swing open and latch back. On these rear ones, there's a good chance your horses are not going to be facing this way unless you've got it as a box stall, which in that case you might want to use just the windows. But you can use this, run with these wide open so that your horses can get a lot of airflow as you drive down the road. These ramps are so super easy to pick up. You can do them one-handed. They've got a nice spring assist, so they're not going to fight you as they're trying to go up and down. All your lights on your exterior here are located nice and low. On these extra tall trailers, we don't want to have to reach really high to get to these, but these control all of your exterior load lights. So you've got one on that side, you've got your stall lights, and you've got your light over on the other ramp there. It's kind of a really nice little setup. Did a couple extra running lights, button lights on the top rail here. This is a pretty good sized trailer. We want to make sure that you're nice and bright and people can kind of see where you are at night. These fenders here, you do have 2 button lights on your fenders as well. Just kind of shows you at night where your edges are so that you can kind of know where your tires are. So it helps with turns, it helps the drivers around you kind of see how wide you are. These fenders, if you ever do have a blowout, they're really easy to replace. They're actually bolt-on fenders. The reason Cimarron did that is because if they were to weld this all in and make it nice and tight, if you have a blowout, it's going to be a lot more expensive to have to fix a fender like that. So they're actually saving you money that if you ever have a blowout on this trailer, you can easily replace that fender. On these Air Ride trailers, they do go on our alignment machine. So all of our used trailers and anything over 26 feet and Air Ride trailers go on our alignment machine. And what that does is they're able to kind of make sure that those tires are going down the road nice and straight so that you don't have any issues with uneven tire wear. So, yeah.
What's the question?
We've got a question, it sounds like. Can you add a skylight? So yeah, you can add a skylight. So if you wanted to, are you talking about like a roof vent, I'm guessing? Like a max air fan or something like that? That's something that you can either add during the build process or we can add additional framing, and our shop is very capable of adding that kind of modification here at Transwest. So a lot of people add it at the beginning, but it's something that we can do after the fact as well. Like I said, we have some of these on order, so if somebody wants to add a skylight, you're more than welcome to. We've got tie rings on the exterior. These tie rings are designed to brake with enough force so that your horses don't cause damage to themselves or your trailer. So if you need to, you can always keep a couple of extras of those around. Your escape door also has a fold down or a drop down window with jail bars. So if you've got that horse in that first stall, they can get some nice airflow as well. Kind of see what's going on outside as they're traveling. So once again, this trailer is already sold, but I know a lot of people are really excited about these 2+1s. This one is just so cool because it's got the V-nose, it's got that nice little fold down for the head divider so that we can walk it in. It's got that extra height. We've got more of these on order. These 2+1s, they just don't stick around. So if you like this trailer and you want one just like it, you can always contact me. My name is Callie Say. These 2+1s and head-to-heads, they are my favorite trailers, except for maybe like a really cute little 2-horse gooseneck. So I'm a big fan of these. I love building these trailers for people. I get really excited about the different options that we can do. You can reach me. My number is 970-309-6368. For those of you that need a reference on this trailer, you can always go and tell us that this trailer is number 5N210312. We're always able to pull up our old build sheets and reference sheets so that we kind of have a starting point so that we know where we can start building. So I really appreciate you guys taking this tour with me today. I know it was a little long, but there's just a lot of cool stuff on this trailer that I didn't want to miss out on. So I hope everybody has a really great day. Thanks for tuning in.